fuse has been lit. It's Wednesday night, Denise and Reg. Post Dynamite, come and get your Easter eggs. It's a dub. Middle of the week, it's AEW. Dynamic wrestling and end your night with us. It's a must. It's Dynamite, it might combust. Speak now, we're gonna give you all the recap. Live on YouTube is where you see that. The Cali connection with the feedback.
Up, everyone. Welcome to my living room. We are live. It is the California Connection, and we are here to chat AEW Full Gear 2023. Of course, I'm not alone. It's Denise Salcedo, but I am joined by Righteous Reg.
In the building. Get your boy, Media Man, your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster out in Los Angeles, California. Casa de Denise. Very excited about this, Denise. We went through a bunch of turmoil to get here. Wasn't the easiest show to ever just to get to because things aren't easy for us.
No, they're not. Like literally the adventures that we've had in literally like the last 48 hours has just been like freaking madness. I'm sure most of you guys saw on Twitter that the car battery died. Keep in mind, we were in the media scrum for about 2.5 hours. And I'm like, all right, let's go home. We're ready to go. We're going to cruise on home. Nope. Get to the car. Battery is dead.
No cruising.
it was no cruising. And it was just like this whole freaking mess of things. But thankfully, Will came through. He had his car there, saved the day. Reg, you were out there freaking almost getting electrocuted.
Jeez Louise. I'm like, what is going on here? Why am I out here? Why are we not in a car going? Car battery's out. We need to call AAA, but AAA is going to take a long time. So we call our friend who came. He saved me a couple times yesterday, honestly, did he? So shout out to that guy, whatever his name is, Double W. You're very cool. Came with his rental car. Got us strapped in. I almost got electrocuted to death. Denise thought I was PCO. We thought this was Impact Wrestling.
There was sparks coming out.
I'm like, what is
I'm like, oh my
this?
God, I'm about to see Reg get electrocuted. I was even thinking, like, what does someone do when someone is getting electrocuted? Like, how would I save your life, Reg? That's what was running through my mind. I'm like, what do I do? Do I pull him? But then I risk getting electrocuted.
I didn't know I was in such danger while this was happening. I didn't know my life was on the line, you guys. I'm just trying to get us out of here, and I'm going to die. This is crazy.
It was awesome. But you know what? It's a memory we're never going to forget. But I got to tell you, I think coming off of Full Gear last night, based on what I've seen on social media and based on what I'm reading right now in the comments, is that people pretty much enjoyed the show. And I feel like given obviously being there and seeing all of the matches that went down, I feel like there was no way that people couldn't enjoy that show.
Yeah, I think for the most part, it delivered on what it needed to do. I think there's a lot of varying opinions on the main event and the main event angles and everything kind of surrounding it. But I think for the most part, they executed what they needed to do.
Yeah, I think like the summary of last night, and this is almost similar to a lot of AEW pay-per-views, but I feel like they always bring something different for like every person that's there. So like no matter what you're into, I'm pretty sure you like something. And I will say this. So on Dynamite, when we were doing our post-show, Reg, you and I, we were talking about how shitty the California crowds can be.
Yeah.
Dude, we came out yesterday.
Let's go.
We looked good.
We outside, baby. There was 13,000 of us, I heard. The Kia Forum was rocking. The moments that they needed to be hot, they were super hot. I thought that the biggest surprise to me, I thought, as far as excitement, was probably the Julia Hart win, actually, because when that happened, the crowd was like, they were really into this. I mean, we talked about on our show how the rise of Julia Hart, I don't know if was expected, but they've gotten into something that's wild. And that pop last night was like, oh, yeah, I see what's going on here. Shout out to California. I talked some stuff a couple days ago being like, I don't know you guys, but I think we came outside.
I think we did, by the way. And you guys are sending in your super chats. I want to thank you guys so much. So I'm going to go ahead and start reading some of those right now. Of course, that's the best way to support this podcast and also get your questions or your opinions read here on the stream. So here we go.
Yeah.
We got one here from Crazy 101 who says, AEW Full Gear was lit. The pay-per-view Swerve is a future champ. I feel like we're going to be hearing a lot about Swerve and Hangman Adam Page because that was match of the night. You know what? We'll get to that in just a second because I do want to spend a good amount of time on that, of course. Shout out to a brand new DWO member, Yasef. We appreciate you coming on here. Crazy 101 who says, also Adam at ringside and no devil. I was actually expecting the reveal of the devil last night. Were you surprised that we didn't get that?
Yeah, I kind of thought that that's what was going to be the resolution to all this match happening. And so when it didn't happen and it just went off the air, I was like, oh, okay. I'm like thinking, why is Adam Cole here? That's what I was thinking the whole show, actually, honest, Denise. What is Adam Cole doing here? His legs broke. Like, he can barely wobble around. Like, I thought, okay, he's here. That means we're going to get it, but we didn't get it.
Well, we did not. All right. And let's go ahead and get into some more of these super chats here. And this next one's from Sheldon Jackson. Good friend of the show, Sheldon.
What's up, Sheldon?
Swerve and Hangman had an amazing match, but for me personally, Brian Cage was an unnecessary part of the match, and it just sucked all the momentum out of the match. It took away from Swerve to me. Oh man. All right, we'll get back to that one in just a second. MBF says Denise loved every match, and the death match was equal violence and story. Swerve for AEW champion. What Ospreay matches are you anticipating the most? Ooh. So let's answer the Ospreay question here because he last night in the media scrum, he mentioned some very obvious people and some not so obvious people. I thought the non-obvious people that he mentioned was Miro. Andrade was another one that he had mentioned. He, of course, mentioned circling things back again with Kenny Omega, Jay White, and somebody he spent a lot of time talking about was MJF. And how can he not, since he is the AEW World Champion?
So I'm going to just be selfish here, play my bias. I'd love to see Powerhouse Hobbs and Will Ospreay go at it, just because I think that clash of styles is just so wild. Of course, Bryan Danielson, we'd be like remiss to not mention Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay. But the match for me, coming off of last night, coming off of that amazing match of the night, Swerve and Ospreay. That's like the one. Phil and I have talked extensively about wanting this match, and now it's like closer than ever. Like, give it to us at Wembley, Tony Khan. I don't know what you got cooking up over there. I guess either one of those matches would hit for me, Bryan Danielson or Swerve. But yo, Will Ospreay being here, Denise, is like such a big deal because he is arguably the best wrestler in the world, and then he's coming to a roster of Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, like who other people consider to be the best in the world. So it's like, this is a wild, wild roster about to commence here. How did you feel about him? We kind of knew about this announcement, Denise, and people kind of knew who it was. He came out and immediately was like, not yet, though. Like, I got my commitments. How did you feel about that part?
I love that, by the way, because I thought that was a real cool thing of Will Ospreay and AEW to do, because they could have done this, okay? Will Ospreay could have came into AEW, right, and at Full Gear and been like, I'm all elite, right? And then after that, all of a sudden, well, let's say we saw one match.
We're just waiting,
and then we never saw him. And then everybody right away, you know what the internet was going to say. They were going to say, wow, they fucking dropped the ball on Will Ospreay. Right. And people would have been so irritated by that, and myself included. I would have been pissed had we not seen Will Ospreay, had we not known this, right? So the fact that they came out and they told us, hey, he's going to finish out his deal with New Japan Pro Wrestling. I thought that was a really good, respectable way to do it. Also, in the media scrum, I loved the way that Will Ospreay spoke about New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, Reg, Will said, if it wasn't for New Japan Pro Wrestling, none of you guys would know my name. 90% of the work that I've done or seen, something like that, it was done in New Japan. So I feel like him being respectful of his time in New Japan and the things that they did for him in his career. You don't often see people behave that way. And I think that shows what kind of person he is. And if anything, it tells your new employer, Tony Khan, that if ever things don't work out here, I'm not going to do you dirty, and we're going to finish out the deal that we committed to. Yeah,
because we've seen the exact opposite, Denise. Somebody will leave a company and be like, that was the worst experience I've ever seen. Don't go back and watch my matches. Stay away from that. But I think with the kind of close personal relationship that New Japan and AEW has, it just makes sense for him to be like, I loved it there. I had a great time. You wouldn't know me for that. And it's true. I mean, like, if you want to see is he up to 40 5-star matches at this point? I don't know. If you want to see all them 5-star matches, most of them are in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So you would want to get people to that. But really exciting times, Denise. I would, if it was Mercedes, I would have been very happy too. But like, this is a big deal.
Of course, it definitely is. I think that Will Ospreay was like the best possible because he's going to add so much, especially in a year coming up that Tony is not going to have Bryan Danielson as much as he had before. Sting didn't wrestle that much, but he's still going to lose Sting, right?
Still a
name value, of course, regardless. And so, Will Ospreay is definitely coming in at a right time. Uriel Landeros, who's a DWO member, says was there live, and the Young Bucks Golden Jets tag match was terrible.
Terrible?
I wouldn't say terrible.
I wouldn't say terrible. It just... We'll talk about it. I have thoughts.
All right. Stephen Marchulli says, do you guys feel the main event was overbooked? All right. So
that's one way to describe it.
All right. We'll get back to this one, Steven. This one is from Bargarf, who says, Full Gear was so good. Swerve versus Hangman was brutally amazing. Love the ladder match, too. Reg singing Bathroom Break during Judas made me lose it. What were you doing? What?
I made a video, Denise, when I went to the bathroom. Remember, I'm like, I got to go when Judas is starting.
Yeah, you left to the bathroom, and then I was like, that's a good idea. So then I left to the bathroom, too.
But I made a video to the tune of bathroom break, bathroom break, bathroom break, bathroom break, bathroom break, bathroom break. Like, Judas.
Reg, you did not. Reg.
Listen, Denise, I'm just trying to keep it real. When I put the video up, hella y'all were like, same. So, like, what do you want from me?
I had no idea this is what was happening during the bathroom break.
Shout out to Regard. Appreciate you.
All right. MVF says, I enjoyed AEW reminding us that Cole is still a thread in MJF's world. I think MJF Cole will beat Punk, MJF, and Page Elite as AEW's best story by the end. All right. So I know everyone's going to have like conflicting opinions about that. So because people are, let's go back to Stephen Marchulli. Let's start off with the main event. Let's start there. So basically we had MJF versus Jay White, which was the promoted match that we had known that we were going to get. However, they did this whole thing during the pre-show where MJF was taken out and his leg was injured. He was taken via an ambulance, and he's telling Adam Cole, who is also a one-legged man, to help him. And Adam Cole's like, I'm going to do this match for you, buddy. So for the main event, they teased that we were going to be seeing Jay White and Adam Cole. And the whole time we were like, okay, when's MJF coming through? MJF rolls in his ambulance. And then we eventually get this match. It lasted about 30 minutes of the match itself. And then like an extra 10 minutes with all of the shenanigans and everything that went down for entrances and things like that. But the story is the one that I think a lot of people kind of had an issue with because there was a lot that really didn't make sense. One, you have MJF, who was taken out with his leg, having another guy who has a bad leg replace him. So that doesn't necessarily make too much sense.
Is he cleared? Is Adam Cole cleared, Denise?
Exactly.
He got a match. They made a graphic. What's going on here?
If he could wrestle, if he was okay with wrestling a main event, then why can't we see him every day on Dynamite? Right? Like, that doesn't make sense. The other thing that didn't make sense to me, or that I didn't like, was that it took Jay White couldn't beat a one-legged man. That takes a lot away from Jay White, where it's like, bro, you couldn't beat this guy. What's up, man? What'd you think of this?
Yeah, I tweeted about that, Denise. A one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest won. Because, like, how Jay White's a former IWGP heavyweight champion. He's beaten like Okada and Tanahashi and Zack Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay. He's beaten all these people, and he can't beat this one guy with this one leg. Now, I understand. There are some people being like, well, he's a babyface, and there's some people that are kind of, I'm still not all the way in on MJF as a babyface, so that didn't play into it also. It's just too much, Denise. It was anytime they do these kind of weave in the storyline throughout the episode or pay-per-view, feels very, hate to say his name on here, Vince Russo-esque of the way that it's like, oh, they're continuing the story, which is fine, but the way that they continue the story is the way that gets me. First, they do this leg breaking or whatever ankle thing that did not look that good. I just watched them. Like, at least like put some emphasis on it so we know. We already don't believe that your legs hurt. So they do the angle, whatever, get him into the ambulance. Then he comes back in the ambulance. I'm like, all right, you're doing like the Stone Cold Steve Austin thing. I understand what's going on. These are all pro wrestling tropes. But at the end of it, it's just too much because his legs broke, Denise. But then you see him doing nip ups. He's doing flying over the rope cutters to the ground. He's doing elbow drops from the top rope. I thought your leg was broke. Why are you doing high spots then? This doesn't even make sense. There's so many things that just didn't make sense to me. And on the surface, I think beyond that, what makes me more upset, it was a really good match. It was a big. Yeah,
I was gonna say, erase the story parts, erase the injury angle part. It was a good match.
Yeah, take away everything that happened. It was a big main event style match. I thought Jay White looked great in the moments that he is. I thought the stuff that MJF did was really awesome too. But it's just like all this is just taking away from it. It was just too much for me.
Brandon Rosen sends in a super chat. Thank you so much, Brandon. He says, the main event was so convoluted. MJF and Jay White are two incredible wrestlers who could have worked an amazing match without all the shenanigans. Also, Adam Cole has to be the devil, right? So I do want to take a second and talk about, I think what didn't work for me was, I think more so that it came across a little bit corny, a little bit cheesy. I think for example, had MJF been like, brutally attacked or something.
Yes.
And when he left in that ambulance, he couldn't even be like, hey, Adam, or anything.
Like he's in a bloody pulp, just dead. Yeah.
And he left. I think that would have been a little bit more cooler to then see the return if you still wanted to do the way that they executed that. If they still wanted to have that probably would have been a little bit better. And then, of course, not having this one-legged man come in and take his place. I think, if anything, it would have been interesting to see somebody like Samoa Joe try to take his place. Where it was like, oh, he couldn't. I don't know. They could have came up with something.
Because I don't believe that that Adam Cole and Jay White are going to have this match. Why are you even teasing it? Like that whole time, I'm like,
no one bought it,
dude. I don't buy this.
No one bought it. Everybody was wondering like what is going to happen. And then in terms of the devil, I like we were just talking about it. Like we thought that was going to be revealed last night, and so I thought, oh, at any point now, Adam Cole is going to do something that is going to mean that he's the devil.
When he put the ring in the ring, I'm like, maybe this is it. When he got the belt, when he got the towel, it's like they're teasing all these things, but it's not happening.
Exactly. And so I do think Adam Cole is the devil, or at least someone associated to Adam Cole is the devil. But I know a lot of people are also thinking Britt. That's been a name that's been thrown about. I don't know, but I still think it has to do with Adam Cole, or else the story would not make sense. Like if it was just random Joe from down the block, it ain't gonna make sense.
At the end of this, Denise, I felt like they were like, MJF is our champion. He's a big star. We told you that he's the future. Here we are showing you. That's what it felt like. All right, dude, I get it. Like, you don't want to get to the like Roman Reigns stage of thing where it's like, all right, I want to see this guy lose his belt, dude. Why are you beating all the baby face? We're not there yet at all, but it feels like there was parts of this build that I liked. I liked everybody attacking him. I still like the moments, but it's like if Jay White for the whole time felt like a side character in his main thing. MJF beat Juice. He beat the Guns earlier in the night, and now he beat Jay White. Why am I supposed to believe the Bullet Club, Denise? And one guy beat y'all.
That's unfortunate because everybody here who has followed Jay White's career prior to AEW recognizes that this is not the kind of position to see Jay White in.
Yeah.
He's a little bit more of there are certain people that are just of higher caliber.
Exactly.
And when you are of high caliber, you get high caliber stories, high caliber matches. Everything is high caliber.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of the mark that I think was missing and was a little bit disappointing, especially as a Jay White fan. And I think a lot of people who are Jay White fans are probably thinking like, ooh, man, damn, what are we doing here?
Like, but Denise, again, if Ospreay came in and did this same thing, could you imagine?
Oh, hell
if he was in Jay White's position and this was happening, Denise.
And he was the one on the side being overshadowed.
Right. You'd be like, what is going on here? And that's how, I mean, he's not the level of worker that Ospreay is. Not many people are, but he was in the same positions that Ospreay was. He is set up as the same thing as Ospreay essentially, and this is what's happening. Just was a little bit weird. I don't think he's totally buried. He'll come out of this because Jay White's a great talker. He'll get out of anything, but it just was like, oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I hope they put Jay White in something good from here. Like, you got to keep going. You got to make sure that his star level doesn't go down. The other thing that I did want to mention, and we already mentioned it, but I want to reiterate it again, was that I did think the body of the match was very entertaining. So
definitely,
I don't want to, like, even though a lot of the story was too convoluted or whatever, we could nitpick and point all of these flaws out in it. The match I thought was very entertaining. There was a lot of things that I very enjoyed from that.
Yeah, and shout out to the homie Myron Reed getting his spot stolen by MJF live on pay-per-view. Reed, we all know what time it is. We know where it came from. There's people online being like, MJF, this is the greatest cutter I've ever seen over the top rope to the floor. That's Myron Reed. I think he's now officially an Impact wrestler. So shout out to Myron Reed, one of the best wrestlers in the world. Look him up. MJF out here still in two, brother. Now it's pro wrestling. Everything's on the line. I'm just kidding. But shout out to Myron Reed, though.
MVF says, I think they went for Mid-Atlantic booking and overshoot.
Facts.
Yeah.
It was an old school territorial type deal for sure.
Johnny sends in a super chat saying, better death match, Paige versus Moxley or versus Swerve? Oh, versus
Denise,
Swerve. I knew
you got your opinion. She said it. Denise said something while the match was happening. And somebody does shout out to Johnny for setting Denise up so well. Denise, let's talk about it. I think this is actually perfect timing, honestly.
All right. So now that I've been put on the spot,
wasn't me.
Johnny and Reg out here co-conspiring to get me to get my hot take out there.
John.
All right. So while I was watching this match, this Hangman Page Swerve Strickland match, I turned to Reg and I said, you know what, Reg? I think I have a hot take. And he goes like, what is it? And I was like, I enjoy, and keep in mind, it's
rare. It's a lot rarer.
Right. So keep in mind, we've seen more violence from Jon Moxley than we have from Hangman Page. But from what we've gotten from Hangman Page, I thought has been exceptional, to the point where my hot take is that I prefer violent death matches or any sort of violent match more so from Hangman Page than Jon Moxley.
Did she just say that, you guys?
It's a Moxley? Hot take, I know.
Moxley, Denise.
I said it. I felt it. I said it.
I mean, Hangman's resume is
it's
smaller, but it goes along with what you're saying, because all the matches he have been hitters, big hitters. So I mean, and after last night, I'm like, it's hard to argue. That was nuts. So, but Moxley, Denise, Moxley.
I know, but I think that there's something different, right? There's going out there and doing all of these violent, gruesome things, right? Mm-hmm. But then there's going out there and doing violent, gruesome things that make sense in a match.
Like it's like an art to it.
Right. There's an art to it. And I think that is where Hangman is kind of winning in points for me when it comes to that.
I'm not mad.
Because I feel like Hangman has a little bit of like these more streamlined, it's just a little bit smoother.
Mox is going to go and do violence on a random Dynamite and not care.
Right. Yeah. I think there's more of a purpose. There's more of a reasoning. Right. There's more of a little bit, I feel like, psychology in it and why this was done, instead of like, I'm just going to do anything that I can possibly think of.
That's fair.
So because of the psychology perspective of it, that's why I kind of connect more with the violent matches that Hangman Page has than Moxley, even though Moxley is obviously way more known for that. Way more known for that. But it hit me yesterday. It really, really hit me yesterday. And I was thinking about it and I'm like, man, I've loved the work that Adam Page has done in those Texas death matches. And when I think about like the Jon Moxley ones, it's almost all a blur. Like I can't pick them out. They're all just a blur at this point.
Yeah, no, this one definitely feels like the best Texas death match in AEW history, I think. They created a blood feud, Denise, off of like not a lot of time, Hangman and Swerve. You know what I mean? Like usually when you get to a match like this, you've been like, these guys have been feuding for a year. I can't believe they got here. They've been feuding for like 3 or 4 months or something, but they've added so much heat with the break-ins and the promos that like, this is what needed to happen. Hangman, you've invaded my life. I'm trying to kill you. I'm going to try to kill you. And then Swerve is like, you're not about to kill me because I'm going to kill you first. It was just a lot of like, it was excellent.
So let's talk about it since we're on it right now. The Hangman Page Swerve Strickland match. Wow. I mean, if let's say you didn't think this pay-per-view was great, okay, whatever, right? But there's no way you can sit here and tell me that Texas death match was not incredible. A lot of people are using the phrase stole the show. Yes, completely stole the freaking show. I love violence. People know that. I love the blood. I love GCW. I love that shit. So what we were seeing here today, last night rather, there were some things that I thought, oh my God, I can't believe he's going to do this. And there are some things where I got to look away. Who the hell is this? And we all know which spot I'm talking about.
Yes.
Swerve's blood literally gushing out and going right into the mouth of Hangman Adam Page. It was disgusting.
Listen, Denise, I've watched a lot of I've been watching Deathmatch wrestling since probably 1999. I've seen a lot of nasty stuff. That was up there. That was like, all right, you got, and that was early in the match. That was like one of the first or second. So I'm like, all right, I see what's going on here. We are disgusting. And Swerve's, I've never seen Swerve bleed like that.
It was like,
it's shooting out of his head or just draining down.
I'm like, where he poured the water on his head and that thing came down like fucking juice.
I'm like, dude, are you okay? Somebody help Swerve. And then this fool drinks it. I'm like, okay, y'all are nasty.
That was, oh man, I was thinking the whole entire time, what does that taste? Can he taste that right now? Or is he running on so much adrenaline that he can't even taste it? You know, that just tasted like you were licking pencils. Like, think about this. Like, get a bunch of pencils, get a 12-pack of pencils, and just like sharpen them and start licking them. Start fucking licking the fucking lead of the pencil. Is that not what? Haven't you ever accidentally tasted your own blood?
Yeah,
and that shit tastes like metal.
It don't taste good.
And
I couldn't imagine tasting somebody else's blood, Denise. And we're having a wrestling match, and there's dirt, and there's particles in the air.
Tasting my own blood.
Yeah, and it's just so nasty. Every time it replays in my head, I'm like, why did you do that? That's gross. But I mean, you know, in the context of this match, he's like, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to drink your blood on the way up. The question asked earlier about Brian Cage, do you feel that way also, Denise, about Brian Cage kind of taking away from Swerve's win?
So, no. And I will tell you why. But here's the thing, though. I do agree with Sheldon. Mm-hmm. When I saw Brian Cage running out there, my first thought was, they're going to ruin it.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was literally my internal reaction to that.
Right.
I did not think Brian Cage was needed at all.
That's fair.
I'm sorry. Love Brian Cage. He's a phenomenal wrestler.
That's
great.
Fair.
I mean, amazing, all of this stuff, but he was not needed in this match at all. I feel like we were talking about the personal aspect of it, how personal the story was. This was an issue between two men. Of course, you know, we know that Swerve has the Mogul Embassy, but at the end of the day, this was an issue between two men. Prince Nana was a little bit of an excuse because Prince Nana, we wanted to see Prince Nana basically get some sort of punishment, which he did. That was a crazy freaking spot too, the way that Hangman put him through the table. Like, that was sick. But I personally did not care for the Brian Cage spot at all. And I'm just glad that I personally didn't feel like it took a lot out of the match. So for me, it was just something that I'm choosing to like not even care about when I think about this match, because then it would undo the work that the other two guys did.
I'm going to tell you why I didn't hate it. Swerve has set this up. Like, essentially, like, he's prepped us for this. Like, they've been doing this to Hangman Page the whole time. Tells a couple of stories. One, where are your friends at? Your friends are over there fighting with each other and not helping you. And we're over here kicking your ass randomly. And then we're at a crazy point with Swerve, Denise. I noticed last night, he's supposed to be the heel.
Yeah. And people were cheering
That's
him.
what I'm saying. So yeah. I like Brian Cage because at least there's some heels part. Like, Swerve is still like, you guys are cheering and you're all into this, but I am a heel. This is supposed to be something that you hate. So Brian Cage coming down here to interfere adds to it, for me at least.
You know what? I like your perspective of things. My reaction was still, oh man, get out of here, right? But I do get your perspective of things.
Because people were really cheering for Swerve, Denise. Like, when he won, people were like, we want this, and he's supposed to be the heel.
If I wasn't a pro wrestling fan and I just popped in that day, I don't think I would know that Swerve was the heel.
Right.
I would be like, oh, everybody loves him. He's a babyface. That's the guy I'm rooting for, right?
Exactly. And like, Hangman's not supposed to be the heel because he's getting revenge for having his home invaded. So he can do all this stuff that he wants. There's no line for him as a babyface. But the dynamics were so different that it's like, yo, Swerve needs a little bit more to the heel. Because even Prince Nana, they're cheering for him trying to get Hangman Page. They're cheering for him interfering in the match. It's different. So I'm not too mad at it.
Right. All right. So there you go, Sheldon. Thank you so much for that super
Thanks,
chat
Sheldon.
as well. But it was definitely match of the night.
Far
Loved
and
it.
away. There was some the glass on the back with the 450, disgusting. The cinder block to the back of the head, nasty stuff.
Oh my God, the chair shot with the barbed wire.
The chair shot with the barbed wire.
I don't know. It looks, from our point of view, it looks like he got his hair, Hangman's hair, and like pieces of his skin.
Oh, I thought it went into his mouth at first. I'm like, yo, you guys, this is crazy. Yeah, barbed wire, the moonsault with the chair and the barbed wire, just like an excellent worked pro wrestling match, 5 stars. Both guys were amazing in this. And this is cemented Swerve Strickland as a top star, and it's only a matter of time before he's AEW World Champion.
Tony Khan mentioned in the media scrum that this was one of the best AEW matches ever.
Facts.
And when you think of the amounts of matches that we've had on this year alone, think about that.
I can't. It's too many.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's bring up Nick Corvello's super chat. Thank you so much to Nick.
Thanks,
who says, hey, Denise and Reg, one thing I'll say I liked about the throw in the towel spot was on top of it being more evidence of Cole being sus. It was a brilliant callback to the 2019 Full Gear when MJF was in that spot with Cody versus Jericho. Yes. Thank you for bringing this up.
Great point, Nick, because all of this MJF stuff does feel very Cody Rhodes-esque. Like, this is a lot of stuff that he does. I'm like, that's a Cody thing. Like, he came out triumphantly. Cody Rhodes would have did 100% of the spots that happened last night as MJF because that's who he is. But I believe it from Cody Rhodes. I guess that's the difference. I just don't believe it from MJF.
We have a super, by the way, thank you so much, Nick, for
Thanks,
your generosity. Nick. This one is from Dan V900, who says, with that main event, which was a mess, why wasn't Samoa Joe the one to go for it on MJF's behalf?
Right.
The story made absolutely no sense across the board. MJF's reign needs to end, whether it's Joe or Swerve. So that was my thought process, too. I mentioned it earlier that I was assuming it would probably make more sense to have Samoa Joe be that person because in a way, he's doing him a favor, but at the same time, he's kind of screwing him because, you know, he's the one that's going after for MJF's Triple B.
You see, I am at a crossroads, though, Denise, with this whole story because I watched a little bit of that, the 0 hour tag match angle. And so what happened was that Samoa Joe's been chasing MJF for this whole time. He's like, if you give me this match, or if I give you this match, you got to give me a world title match. So they do the match and the match is over. They shake hands and Samoa Joe leaves. Initially, Samoa Joe was helping MJF and he was making sure he doesn't get hurt. But I like the story of, I got my match. Now I don't have to help you with shit. I'll let the Guns beat you up. So the Guns beat him up immediately because Samoa Joe could have turned around and helped him right there. But he got what he wanted. And now he doesn't care about MJF. So that's the part of the story that I liked. But him coming back triumphantly just was like, all right.
Right.
Do you think, okay, before we get off of it, is Samoa Joe the one to beat MJF?
And you want to know, it's not even like, for me, the big giveaway that Samoa Joe is going to become AEW World Champion is, dude willingly gave up his Ring of Honor TV championship after 560 plus days. Mm-hmm. Who does that? Yeah. You can't imagine how dumb they would make Samoa Joe look if he gave up his championship after all of the battles, after all of the days that he held it, for him to end up with nothing.
That's fair. Yeah. I believe that. Yeah, it's like, it's like you did all that and you got nothing at the end, Samoa Joe. That's crazy. It would make him look crazy.
It would like ruin Samoa Joe's aura.
Yeah, like a maniacal heel villain. It's like, that doesn't matter, dude. They're just going to screw you at the end. So, yeah, I think Samoa Joe has to be the one at this point. I still feel bad for Jay White, but I think even beyond that, watching that tag match, the fire that Samoa Joe was showing during this tag match, I don't know if it was California or whatever it is, but this guy was on fire and like he's ready for the world championship, I think is the best and most important part of this. Big Samoa Joe have been for a long time. Big Samoa Joe fan have been for a long time. So I'm excited about the prospect of Samoa Joe being the one to be the next AEW world champion. I think there's a lot of legs in that. And Max, it's time.
And I here's the thing, like I love MJF and I still think that if they were to polish a couple of things, I wouldn't mind if MJF stayed champion and had some other great feuds. I really truly wouldn't mind that. They would have to tweak some things
gotta do some
around,
things.
but it would work, right? It would still work, right? Because MJF has great matches with people. He's a great storyteller, great performer. The fans love him. The pops and reactions that he's gotten in literally every venue that I've been in to see MJF, you can't just throw that away.
Facts.
And I love Samoa Joe. I think he's freaking brilliant, but I don't see Samoa Joe getting those same reactions that MJF gets.
That's true. It's going to be a different title reign. It's going to be a different story being told. I think that's the best part of this MJF story is, I kind of joked about it a little bit ago of like, no, they put the stamp that this is the guy. He's told us since he got into AEW that he wants to be in this position. He wants to be the top guy. He wants to get the big reaction. He wants everything that he has now. So I commend him for becoming a top guy, becoming the person that he said he was, and upping this bidding war of 2024 or whatever is going on. Like, he's built a stock. He really is that guy that he says he is. So.
All right, there you go. Thank you so much to Dan V900
Thanks,
for
Dan.
that. MVF says, put Jay versus Danielson in the, what is it called again? Continental Classic?
Classic, yeah.
Continental Classic Finals. You know, last night I couldn't remember the name of it. And I'm like, I listened to Tony talk about it for a long time. And here I am sitting down at 3 a.m. Can't remember the name of it. I was like, something classic. It was 3 a.m. I was tired.
Shout out to Denise real quick. This is the hardest working woman there is. She went to the scrum for 2 hours.
And a half.
Yeah, 2.5 hours. Then she came home and worked for another 2.5 hours or something crazy.
I went to sleep at almost 4 a.m. because I had
no sleep.
After the scrum, I did an interview with the LA Times.
Oh, yeah, that's
Then I did the battery thing. That was like a whole hour of just
I forgot that was time too.
Literally just being in the Kia Forum. And then finally got home, uploaded all the videos, edited them, put them up, whatever. And then did the podcast for Busted Open, a 20-minute reaction pod. And then after that, I still took a shower and then went to sleep.
Crazy, dude. She slept for like 10 minutes, you guys.
It was
Shout out Denise for working very hard to give y'all that content.
Trying. Go to the channel. Check it out. You're already here. All right. MVF says put Jay versus Danielson in the CC finals. 3-way was lit.
Yeah, Jay White and Bryan Danielson in the finals. I think that's pretty hot. I'm excited about that match. Have they announced? They haven't announced all the competitors, right?
No, they haven't. There's a couple now. It's Mark Briscoe, Andrade, Eddie Kingston, and Bryan Danielson.
Okay.
Right. So we still got a couple more to go. Right. Yeah. Sheldon Jackson says Hangman loves Texas death matches in California in 2023. Revolution versus Mox in San Francisco. And last night in LA. Bro, let's rename it California Death Match.
Let's go, baby. Give us our due. If you're going to turn up in California, you at least got to tell people about it.
Johnny says, wait until Darby has a death match and ladder match.
No, we don't. That was disgusting. If it's anything worse than that, Johnny, and he would try. We don't need that.
Darby's going to try to do some crazy shit. He's going to be like, I want to be remembered forever.
Straight
I'm
up.
Up with some crazy
Set
stuff.
me on fire. He's friends with Steve-O. Shout out to Steve-O. He was in the front row. I'm sure he could show him how. So
I saw him and everybody was chanting Steve-O like right when he came in. And I was like, squeal, like, that's Steve-O.
He looked really excited for wrestling and not he looks like a child seeing wrestling for the first time. Like, I love when people watch wrestling like that.
Yeah. That's the best thing about the LA events. There's always a celebrity in the crowd that you get to spot.
It's wild.
Dan V900 says, I agree with you on the hot take, Denise. Wow. Moxley's death matches in New Japan have been better than AEW, except for with Hangman, I'll take the Page matches. Interesting. I think, you know what? I finally had a hot take.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Look at that. You guys are going to take Denise out of here. She's done for. It's not that kind of hot take.
I know. I was going to say, all of a sudden I get canceled. Why'd you get canceled? Well, I said I like Hangman Page's death matches more than Moxley. That canceled you? Yes.
If anything, you're just going to get heat with Moxley, probably.
Marcus Ryan says, shout out to Reg on jumping the car.
Let's go. Thanks, Marcus. They didn't give it up to your boy. Like, Will came to try to take all the credit. I'm like, but I'm the one that almost died with the electrocution.
On both cars, when you were putting the little, what are they called? Pliers? I don't think they're called pliers.
Jumper cables.
Oh, the jumper cables, the little clips, whatever. First you did Will's car, and I just saw the sparks come out. Then you went to do my car, and then I saw more sparks come out. I was like, oh my God.
Watch out, Dwayne Johnson. I'm the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. The fire's coming out of my hands and my eyes and my hair.
I'm telling you, Reg, the whole time in my head, all I was thinking about was, oh my God, what do you do if someone gets electrocuted?
Denise, what were you going to do?
Okay, so I heard one time, and please, people, I need to know this because now I need to have this in the back of my mind. I don't know if this is true. Somewhere in something, I don't know where I heard this, but I heard if someone's getting electrocuted, that you should get a fork and put the fork so that you can break the electrocution. I don't know if that's true, but I heard it somewhere a couple years ago.
A metal fork?
And that's my only plan.
Where do I start? Did you have a fork?
No, I didn't even have a fork to save you.
She had this plan, you guys, without a fork.
It crossed my mind. I was like, damn, I don't got a fork to save Reg. And I was going to feel like such a jerk if you died jumping my car. What would I say? Like, would I?
Damn it, she didn't have a fork.
Would I?
Abdullah the Butcher, where are you?
Would I be held responsible? Probably.
That's a freak accident. No, I don't think so. They're going to be like, the ambulance shows up. They're like, did you guys have a fork? This whole thing could have been avoided.
I'm going to do research on this. I'm going to do research. I'm going to find out what to do if someone's getting electrocuted so I can save a life. Crazy. All right. Farron Wolf, Exquised says, I'm afraid after seeing MJF at 50% beating Jay White at 100%, I have Super Cena WWE shit flashback.
Look, I felt that too. That's what it was. Like a Super Cena shit gets so, the line is so fine for it. And it felt like, I'm like, Super Cena does great for Cena. It does great for Max, but the Nexus, whatever happened to the Nexus? Or, you know what I mean? Like, this felt like that. And I hope the Bullet Club Gold doesn't end up being the Nexus. Wouldn't that be crazy?
I agree. Doppelganger 399 says you have a segment with Cole convincing Joe to wrestle Jay White. Yeah.
Right.
Work something
out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That would have been way better.
Doppelganger 399, thank you so much for the super chat and the suggestion. We appreciate that very much. Farron Wolf Esquise says MJF thing was an underdog story, but he has not won.
Exactly. Y'all are bringing up some banging points in here today. Yeah, it's an underdog story, but we already believe you, dude. You don't have to like. It's that damn, what do they say for Cody Rhodes? Oh, adversity. He needs all the adversity in the world. He already had the whole world against him. He doesn't have his, but he hasn't had his belt for like 2 months. The Bullet Club's been beating his ass every time he turns around. His partner's gone, like all this adversity. And he's like, I need one more piece of adversity.
Oh my God.
Break my leg.
I just thought of something. When MJF was fully healed, like he was 100%, didn't have the leg thing, he couldn't get his Triple B back from Jay White. But with one leg. Okay, why did I think of that? And I was just like, come on now. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Oh, man. Nick Corvello says, overall, the pay-per-view was good, but still bummed about that Sheeta loss. More so,
okay.
With how the match was booked. Definitely an overbooked mess, an obvious dumb referee moment. Sheeta deserved a better match. I'd welcome her in the TBS division. I think I went into this knowing, like, expecting Toni Storm to win. Right, of course, we knew. And so, I mean, what'd you think of the actual matchup, though? I mean, I don't know. I didn't notice anything too terrible. I
mean, it's two great women's wrestlers. We were not surprised about them having a good match. It might have been a little bit overbooked with the stuff. It got a little bit convoluted in points, and it's like, Sheeta's a smarter wrestler than this. Some of the stuff wouldn't be happening. But the result is not that really surprising to me. We kind of knew it was going to be in LA. They're playing up the Hollywood thing. Like, this is Toni Storm's time. And so I'm not super mad at it.
Thank you so much again to Nick Corvello for your generosity. Lawrence Ross says, hey, Reg, mad respect for the hustle. Denise, love the content. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Lawrence.
guys.
Thank you. Sheldon Jackson says, who do you think should win the Continental Classic, especially now knowing that the winner will become the inaugural Continental Ring of Honor World and New Japan Strong Openweight champion?
I have no idea. It's maybe being set up for Bryan Danielson to win, kind of like off rip of them being like, this tournament is happening essentially because Bryan Danielson's going to leave. So I wouldn't be mad at it. Bryan Danielson's the greatest wrestler of our generation. The Eddie Kingston thing is super interesting. I've been thinking about it since last night, Denise. This triple crown, every belt's on the line, and I don't really know how to feel about it, honestly. Does that mean Eddie Kingston's going to win? Like, what does this mean?
I want to see Bryan Danielson win.
Okay.
Point blank. That's what I want to see. But I want to make it so that they make I want the pool of competitors to be high caliber so that I don't go into this thinking, oh, wow, it's a dead giveaway that Bryan Danielson's going to win.
Right.
I want Bryan Danielson to win, but I don't want it to be a dead giveaway.
Right. I mean, I think the most important thing for me is just that we're going to see a bunch of great matches, and they're going to consistently be seeing stars. We should wrestle each other because everybody's scared to lose matches and shit. But I'm excited about this. I put my money right now on Bryan Danielson just for the, this is his last year, man. Give him all the shit. I don't care if the accolades they seem forced. They're not forced. He earned all this.
Jeremy Russ says, what do you think about this all being in MJF work? And he is going to turn hard. Joe will always be a tweener, but a fave against MJF. I have a feeling that here's the thing, like, we need to see something change coming off of this storyline. If we go back to MJF being a heel, nothing really changes, right? But if we get Adam Cole turning heel from this, that's a change.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know because like I said, I still don't believe MJF as a babyface. He feels like he's just doing like what he thinks a babyface should do, like the tropes and like let's chant and the kangaroo kicks and all that stuff. It seems forced, but I know that's the point. So I'm still at a crossroads with this.
We have a DWO member, Oliver Drake, who says would prefer the tournament to be for the #1 contendership.
Oh, okay.
See, I don't mind what they're doing here with this Triple Crown thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind. I don't hate it. It was a little bit, I think the explanation that Tony Khan gave last night was a little bit muddied where there was some confusion in the audience.
Yeah.
But, they cleared that out. Once that was cleared out, it made a little bit more sense.
Do you think this is going to be like an Owen Hart tournament thing where like we're all excited while it's happening, but then it's over? It's just over.
I'm going to say no, only because you do have the Triple Crown involved.
So that aids
right.
it. Okay, I can
right.
see
I
it.
think so.
Yeah.
Will DeBeast says Swerve and Hangman was match of the year candidate, but how about the 4-way ladder match, especially my second favorite match of the night? But I think Wrestle Dream was the much better pay-per-view, but I'm biased from Seattle. Agree.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a lot to touch on here. First of all, Swerve Hangman is definitely a match of the year contender.
Yep.
And the 4-way ladder match was phenomenal too. We haven't even talked about that because that match there, I mean, it had so many unique spots. We had Ricky Starks and Big Bill obviously defeat FTR, La Facción, and House of Black. I think there was some good moments in there. There was one where I forgot who ricocheted this ladder by pulling the ropes and it just hit somebody else straight in the face.
Malachi Black did the ricochet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I turned to Reg during that spot and I thought that was freaking cool, man. I don't think I've seen something like that. Everything that they did on the outside with the ladders was freaking batshit nuts, man. It was nuts. And the crowd was so interested in it. This was a very fun match. This was like a ladder match dream. I think.
This was one of those classic, just like what they would deem in TNA wrestling as a car crash match, where it's just like all kind of carnage is going on. They're doing wild stuff. That Brody King doing the Gonzo bomb on the ladder on the outside. Disgusting stuff, and then them still trying to use that same broken ladder. Cash coming off.
Dude,
on
that
Brody.
ladder did not want to break. That I think it was like the left side of the ladder did not want to break at all.
These ladder matches get scary at points. They're like up top, and then you're like, everybody be careful out there. I don't know if it's worth it, but I thought it was very excellently worked. It was one of those. It was a spot food ladder match, so I loved it.
And
it was needed at
moment.
that time.
Yeah, and everyone had a moment. I think that was good. I think.
How do you feel about the result?
I love it. I love Ricky Starks. I love Big Bill. I was very happy. I thought they had a very funny media scrum as well.
Yeah.
Ricky Starks is just really freaking good when it comes to the having quick comebacks and just having the right comedic timing. It was great. I was very happy for them. I'm actually really happy that they won. I thought House of Black was winning that.
I thought so too.
But I prefer Ricky Starks, Big Bill to retain, honestly.
How do you feel about FTR's kind of position going into this and coming out of this? What does this mean for them?
With FTR, for me, it's a lot of been there, seen it, done that. They're a great freaking tag team, but we've seen a lot of FTR.
Right.
And I feel like I want to see some other teams rise. and that's why I want to see more of teams like La Facción or even the Lucha Brothers once they're all healed, well, Phoenix rather, and everybody else that we're seeing. I feel like sometimes the tag team division is only focused on a couple of teams, and then we kind of forget about everybody else. And then when it's time to care of everybody else, it's a little hard because, well, we haven't seen them. So I want you got to
get us reinvested in all these teams because they've been sitting on the sidelines.
Like, look at what they were doing with House of Black. Like, that's why I thought that there was a shot that they were gonna win because of this. But Ricky Starks and Big Bill, I think they can have a lot of fun with that. Yeah,
I was going into this and that promo, kind of how the House of Black was after FTR being like, we're going to take away from you what's most important. That kind of led me to believe that they were going to win this match, but I'm not surprised that Big Bill and Ricky Starks did. Actually, I am kind of surprised because that team is still like we talked about recently, that it feels like a step backwards kind of for Ricky Starks still a little bit because he was being set up to go and do something else. And it felt like him getting the tag team titles at this time, it was like, well, we thought you were going to be TNT champion or international champion, or like we thought you were going for something else, and getting back in the tag team was just super interesting. So again, I thought this was House of Black's times, or Kings of the Black Throne, or whatever you want to call their little separate thing. But I'm not surprised that Ricky and Bill did it. I think that they still have legs in their tag team. Big Bill's great. I like everything he was saying in that scrum. I think his story is just a really, really good one. So I like it.
So I was looking at the Wrestle Dream card because that was what Will DeBeast had brought up. And I'm like thinking, I know he mentioned the Wrestle Dream card because that one was a really good one too. And I was really looking at these matches. But, we're talking about Wrestle Dream. We're talking about Full Gear. I think for me, All Out is a pay-per-view that I really freaking enjoyed. I thought coming out of that show, I was just going like, ooh, man, went through a lot. I think right now, because of Full Gear, it's like recency bias that I think that one was the best one. But then I think I would rank All Out, and then maybe after for me, Wrestle Dream, just based off of like things that I remember.
I might go Wrestle Dream as the best one because I was there. Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. It's like anytime you get matches that we've been waiting 10, 15 years for, like special moments like that, it's hard to top. Just that right there was awesome. And the original Hangman and Swerve match was awesome too. So I might, just with those two, put it over. Like, I felt this one felt like this was a really good show too. I keep getting kind of muddied by the antics of the main event, but like a lot of it was just great wrestling. So it's pretty up there too, but I think I might put Wrestle Dream just because of those two matches at this moment.
Fair enough. All right. MVF says Christian Cage's entrance. OTY? What does OTY mean?
I don't know.
Wait, what is OTY? No Doubt S. Rank Heel.
Entrance of the year.
Oh, entrance of the year.
Of the year, yeah, because like they have a new I don't want to say Titantron, but they have a new Tonytron.
I was like, what is OTY?
Yeah. I was like, wait, no, of the year.
Right,
entrance of the year.
Sorry about that, MVF. Yes. That one was great. The little kids, and then being like the father figure of these kids.
I have some questions about that match and that thing. How do you feel about, because when Adam Copeland came in, Denise, it was hot. We were going crazy. It doesn't feel as hot now. Am I wild to say that?
No.
What happened?
How do I say this? I had a feeling this was going to happen.
Okay, that's fair. And
the reason I say that is because I saw what Adam Copeland was doing in WWE, and I don't know how much difference they could have done things here. I
don't know why that's funny. Denise, I know what kind of time he was going to come and be on, and he's on that time again.
You get me what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like, someone's whole entire personality is not going to change just from going from one company to another. Right. It might for some people. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I just kind of was expecting this.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, but I'm not going to say I love this match, though. The
match was fun.
Seeing Sting out there, we got a little Stinger back here. Seeing him out there with Darby and with Adam, it was freaking cool. It was an enjoyable match. Great way to kick off the show. Getting to applaud and thank Sting afterwards. I mean, that was a moment that I don't think fans are going to forget, especially those in the crowd.
But it doesn't feel like that energy that he was bringing when he came. Like, he's like, I'm going to be doing all these different things, and it just doesn't feel like that. I see what kind of story they're trying to tell, but I want to see like Adam Copeland and like Ricky Starks and Adam Copeland and
I think we all want to see Adam Copeland, Ricky Starks.
That one just, I don't know why I said that. I don't know if that one's going to happen.
Because that one was like even though whatever shenanigans happened, I don't freaking know what happened, right? But what we saw on the screen.
Real heat.
Had everybody going, like everybody turned and was like, what's going on there? I want more of that. Of course, there was some real heat in there, but
like that felt like Adam Copeland's here. It's real. This feels like Edge is having a retirement run, which is fine.
Let's run with it. Why didn't they run with it?
It wasn't time because it was real. So.
What time is it? What time is it? You just had Ricky Starks you had Ricky Starks lose to Bryan Danielson.
Yep.
So what's next? Really, you're telling me that him teaming with Big Bill is better than him possibly having an impromptu feud with Adam Copeland?
I don't know. I
would have ran with it. I would have been like, everybody in the situation, man the F up. Y'all are going to work together. We're going to make some magic because we were handed something with silver platter here.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's freaking run with that. And I'm sure Ricky Starks would have probably loved to be in a feud with Adam Copeland. I don't know. I would assume so, right?
Yeah, because
imagine going from Punk to Bryan to Adam Copeland.
It felt like he was going from Bryan to Mox, and that's why I'm like, I thought he was going to be with Mox. I thought that's where we were going with this. That's why it's still kind of interesting. He's such a good character, and Big Bill's been so great that they're making it work like it doesn't matter, but it's still kind of interesting.
Which I still feel the heat on that was stupid because I didn't think Ricky Starks said anything insulting.
No, he was super on the line. That was super on the line wrestling thing.
Like I really hope Adam didn't legitimately get insulted there. I don't know, but I really hope he did it.
In his face, it looked like he wasn't happy to the like he went like there's not scripts in it. Like he went off whatever script there was supposed to.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm like,
he was mad.
He didn't even say anything bad.
I still think the result of this is Edge turning, Adam Copeland turning and being with Christian. I'm still seeing we're leading to this, but this part feels like
Edge and Christian. Yeah,
this part feels like we're slow. We're gonna get there eventually, and it's like, all right.
All right. Broadway Joe says, if you need a reason, the deal Joe has is with MJF. If Jay is champ, his title shot is gone too, so he wouldn't be fighting for Mox but himself. Exactly.
Yeah.
Tell that story. It's simple. It's not that complicated.
There's a bunch of stories they could have told with Samoa Joe, a bunch of stories they could have told with Adam Cole, but they didn't.
Thank you so much to Broadway Joe. We got Justin Marchesini. Justin, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, agreed on Swerve versus Hangman being match of the year candidate. I feel sorry for anyone who followed that, but kudos to the announcers keeping us interested in the main event with the injury to MJF. Yeah, I was thinking, I think everybody was thinking, oh, whatever match goes on after this, like, sucks to be them. But that's what I'll say. Like, I didn't think the Young Bucks match and Kenny and Jericho was awful. I thought that the crowd was interested. They didn't die during the death spot. Yeah,
I was trying to think of what other match I might have put in that place, and this had to be it. Yeah, this had to be this one.
That would have been awful.
Right.
They couldn't do that to them. That would have been messed up.
It had to be this because this LA Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Christian, it had to be this match. I just didn't believe any of it. I thought that I don't want to see Kenny Omega versus the Young Bucks. Like, that's not, it's almost like they're building to, this is WWE, but they're building to Jay and Jimmy. And like, I don't want to see brothers fight. I like them as teammates. And so it feels like they're building to this. They did the stuff in the match and it's like, but I want you guys to be friends. And Chris Jericho does suck. The Young Bucks are right. Like, they're making all the good points. Why is Kenny Omega beating up his friends for Chris Jericho, who's just going to screw him immediately when he gets the chance? He's out of here. Why are you doing this, Kenny Omega? But yeah, I think you had to put this match because they got This Is Awesome chance. They got what they needed to do. It had to be this match because anybody else would have been really the death spot. They would have died.
Stephen Marchuli sends in a super chat saying, hot take is, has Christian always been better than Adam? Yes.
I believe it.
Yes. Yeah. I switched gears on that like a while ago.
It's been a long time for me too.
MBF says, is the result of a roster loaded with 8, 9, and 10s?
I think he maybe on the Ospreay stuff or wait. Is it the result of like having a loaded roster?
There is a loaded roster. Honestly,
that's kind of a thing with going back to the Will Ospreay thing. I'm like, where is he gonna immediately fit in? Like, he should be a main event talent, but you know that they don't really AEW doesn't work like that. So I'm interested to see kind of where they put him in coming in.
Farron Wolf Esquisse says this run is for Big Bill. His first run as champ. Dude, he's got such good energy, man.
That's true.
His energy in that media scrum was very freaking enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I love them. I think they're great. I'm a fan.
Yeah,
that's all I got to say on that one. Alejandro Reyes sends in a super chat saying, amazing pay-per-view, was there with my brother and even going to buy the replay over buying a $50 shirt.
Oh.
Very limited merch. Great show for Swerve is a maniac OMG.
That's awesome.
I mean, damn, I'm just so happy you had a good time on the show and wanting to rewatch it.
This merch thing, Denise, it's still a problem. Like every time I go to a show, I'm like,
a little pricey too. I spent $40 on this thing, and I was like, "Ooh, do I want to spend $40 on this? Not really." But then I was like, damn, when am I going to get the chance to buy this? And it was flooded with the idea of like, okay, Sting's going to be, done soon.
Last time.
Right. Yeah. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to spend $40 on this.
But they still only bring 6 shirts and they have a roster of 1,000 wrestlers. It's like, what if I want to get you can't get a wrestler specific thing
it's all just
it's
AEW pay-per-view branded stuff.
Right. Which is fair and you should, but what if I want to get a blah, blah, blah shirt, a Christian Cage shirt, or an Action Andretti shirt? I don't know, something you don't get that option. It's do you want an AEW Full Gear shirt? Do you want an AEW brand shirt? Which is I get pushing the brand, but it gets frustrating for people who are going to buy merch like that.
Right. I would at least love to see a selection of 5 to 10 for other wrestlers, and then 5 of AEW specific items. I don't know, something along those lines.
Right.
Broadway Joe says big vibes like when Edge came back and listed everyone he wanted to work with, then feuded with Orton for a year.
Yes. We're about to get all these bangers, and he's actually him and Randy Orton are going to be in a feud for 6 months. And you're like, wait a second.
What are we doing here? All right, we got Pato Kia, who sends in a super chat. Thank you so much. He says, Edge needs to be the ultimate opportunist, obsessed with getting gold, doing whatever underhanded, surprising tactics possible to get what he wants. That's the best Edge.
Yes.
I don't want to see Edge as AEW World Champion.
No. But he needs to have those tendencies. You guys are making some great points. Shout out to everybody sending super chats. But yeah, he needs to have those tendencies of those guys. He shouldn't win the AEW World Championship, but he still should be that guy the ultimate opportunist type of I'm gonna screw you over. I'm gonna do anything I can to win. This feels like I said, Edge is Adam Copeland's retirement run, which is great. And he should get this because he's done a lot. He's been in TLC matches. He's got his body destroyed, but it's dude, we were hoping for a little something more.
Right. Okay. I want to spend some time really quickly talking about a topic we haven't touched on really, and that is Julia Hart winning the TBS championship. You had mentioned earlier how you felt about the moment. Mm-hmm. What did you think, man, seeing Julia Hart win?
I like this match better than the other AEW women's title match. This match I like the way that they mixed it up. I've talked about multiple times on this podcast, Sky Blue and Julia Hart are homegrown stars. They got the crowd behind them. Sky Blue got a new theme. They're invested in these women, and it shows because the fans are now invested in them. It's crazy how that works. For a little bit of time, give these women some time, give them some characters, give them some things. That's funny because we talked about that too, Denise, because after the entrances, I was like, how do you kind of feel about Stat? Because her theme, her didn't her crowd reaction wasn't like the other two ladies. And you brought up a great point of how they have established characters. We know their directions. We know what they're doing. And Stat is just kind of she's a great wrestler. The alien, there's some things she's a best friend, but it's not something we really want to get behind with her.
Right. I think that right now just Sky Blue and Julia's personas are what's intriguing the crowd, and it's working. It really is working, and we're seeing that. Love Julia Scrum too. I thought it was we don't really get to hear from her very often, so her talking about the cheerleading gimmick I thought was the biggest takeaway from that, because she was saying how her confidence wasn't the greatest when she was the cheerleader, and she talked about backstage how people would be like, oh, don't worry, it's you'll get it at some point. And she was saying she didn't love that, and so things finally clicked for her. She found her dark side, and it ended up really working for her. And so I'm just very excited seeing Julia win, especially because she's so young.
I was going to say, Denise,
she's going to be
22 years old.
Yeah,
oh, that's crazy.
So she's going to go on to do a lot of really great stuff with AEW. And I think that I think Tony recognizes that and says, like, this is somebody that we're going to invest in and see grow and become like, our Sasha Banks, our Baileys, our Charlottes.
Yeah.
They need some of those people to start building, especially since they're such a young company. So having people like that is going to pay off in the long run. For sure.
I thought beyond that, all the women worked hard. This was a really fun triple threat match. These triple threat matches can be a little sometimes, and I don't think this was that. I like how Sky and Julia were kind of double teaming Stat at points, but then Stat was getting over. Everybody looked really clean and crisp. I really like the finish of that. But yeah, shout out to Julia Hart, 22 years old. And Denise, how about this TBS championship? First champion was Jade. Second champion is Stat. Third champion is Julia Hart. Like
very different.
Very different. All homegrown stars also, which I think is super cool. That's like I think that could be like a goal for a lot of the younger women wrestlers coming up who might feel like, I don't know, man, maybe I'm not blah, blah, blah. Cause like Julia said, like there was moments where she was probably like, I don't know, you guys, like I'm not really getting what I blah, blah, blah. And now she's the AEW TBS champion, maybe the homegrown belt. I think that's a really good precedence to set. That's a really good thing to look forward to for a lot of these wrestlers. This thing is just like great all around for the future of AEW.
We got a super chat here from Alejandro Reyes who says, happy to be able to see Sting's last match in California too.
Yes, nice me too. Moment. I got to see the Oakland one and this one. Like I'm going to take that forever. Like that's a big deal.
Delayed Grad says, all the right people won yesterday. Yes, even the Golden Jets, because it keeps the Bucks heels from going, heel turn going. Julia is only 22. She is awesome. Sky is great. Chris was protected. Great decisions. Yeah, I agree. Everybody who won yesterday was the right call, either for their moment in time and career or for the purpose of the story that is being told.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, she's only 22 because we're all grandpas and grandmas out here. Everybody's young. They got a great future. But yeah, I thought all the results.
We're rotting, 1 foot in the grave.
We're just on our way out. Denise was going to watch me get electrocuted to death last night. Like there's all kind of crazy stuff going on. But I think, but yeah, I'm like the Chris Jericho and Kenny stuff kind of was unfortunate, but right result. If this leads to more Young Bucks as heels, that's what I want. And that's the story that they played into after the match. So
Orange Cassidy defeated Jon Moxley.
Most surprising result of the show for me, Denise.
I called it, man. This was the right thing to do. I thought he should have won the first match. I even said that last time.
Yeah, it was. I was surprised coming into the show. Like my prediction was, oh, Mox is going to get his due, blah, blah, blah. He's going to do what he was supposed to originally do. And he did it. Like that was like when he pinned him, I was legit like, whoa, this is crazy. But I think that's kind of needed for Orange Cassidy. Going into this, Moxley sold it so great. All the promos, he's like, when I see you, you're dead. But Orange Cassidy, on the other hand, was like, I don't care, dude. Like, I'll fight you. Like, I want to be the crowning achievement of this championship, and beating you gets me there. I thought it's a great story to tell. Orange Cassidy, MVP. The wrestler of the year thing is so muddied because everybody's been doing great, but we got to give it up to Orange Cassidy. And I think this victory right here sealed it for him. And of course, every time Jon Moxley is just so good at every single thing that he does. He was perfect last night. He's bleeding, of course, because that's what he does. Really fun match.
Really fun match. But you know what? I got to tell you, last night was such a busy night and I only got a little bit of sleep, but I will tell you, those few hours that I got were awesome. Did you know that traditional bed sheets can harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat? It can lead to acne, allergies, and stuffy noses, and it's just gross. Miracle Made offers a whole line of self-cleaning, eco-friendly bedding such as sheets, pillowcases, and comforters that prevent 99% of bacteria and require 3 times less laundry. Through their silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made is designed to keep you at the perfect temperature so you get better sleep every night. Miracle Sheets are the perfect gift for your spouse, friends, or family. Who doesn't want better sleep and luxurious feeling bed sheets? And since these come with 3 free towels, you get 2 gifts in one just in time for the holidays. Go to trymiracle.com/Denise to try it today or gift it to someone special this holiday season. Save over 40% off and If you use the promo code Denise at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Denise to treat yourself, a friend, or loved one this holiday season. The link is in the description box below. Alrighty, and we are back here. All right, so yeah, I mean, overall, just a really great pay-per-view. Reg, any final thoughts? Anything that we didn't talk about that you want to mention before we wrap up? And of course, last call for super chats if there was something we didn't discuss.
Last call. Yeah, no, really fun show, Denise. I drove over here. It was a nightmare driving over.
7 hours.
It took them
7 hours
to drive over here, all for wrestling. I'm a sick individual. I was stuck in LA traffic. I hate it here. It sucks. But I think that pay-per-view was worth it, specifically the Swerve and Hangman. I've been waiting for Swerve to get a moment like this for a while, and Hangman being so giving in that was just awesome. I thought this was like, they have shows that feel like the future looks good. This was one of those shows of like, the future looks good. I mean, I know Ric Flair was there, but the future does look good, and what we're going to do in the future, you guys are going to be excited about it. So I thought all around they executed how they want. I'm happy to see Will Ospreay, happy for Julia Hart. I'm happy for Samoa Joe, I think, even out of all of this. So I thought it was good stuff.
I did too. I had a good time with yesterday's show. A really good time. Really great time with the media scrum. Of course, guys, you guys know how I do. I posted all of the videos to the media scrum separately. So if you only care about certain wrestlers and you only want to watch those, or hell, you want to watch them all, but in the order that you prefer, they are all up on the channel. MJF, Julia Hart, Will Ospreay, those are the ones that are doing numbers. Go check those out. Check them out. See what people had to say. See what your faves had to say. Will Ospreay was really good because, of course, he just became all elite. So we got a great insight into why he signed with AEW and the process of that. Julia Hart, of course, talks about the character element and changing things, becoming TBS champion. MJF, that one is more on like the skit side of things, but it's enjoyable. It's fun. Check it out. MJF's crying in this. He's eating pickles. Adam Cole is there. It's a whole thing. He gives pickles to everybody. It was very cool. Check that one out as well. And the Jericho one, the Tony Khan one, provided a lot of really great insight too. Ricky Starks and Big Bill was a mixture of funny and serious at the same time. So that one was also really good too. And then the Orange Cassidy one was nice and simple as well. So check those out, guys. That's how I make my money during all of this. So if you guys can go check out these videos, it really does help me out a whole lot. I always try to get some good angles, some good audio, some great stuff in there. All right, before we go, Reg, please let the people know where they can follow you, where they can support you.
You can follow me every Saturday. I'm on with Phil and Lindsay. We were on Friday this week because I was driving over to LA. But on Grab City Podcast on the Fightful Network, I'm on every Wednesday with Mike on Indeed. I'm on every Wednesday with Denise.
Yeah.
I love it. It's the best. And then Thursdays, you can catch me on the Ring of Honor post show with Kate. You know, it's the same. I'll see y'all on Wednesday again. If I have something, then I'll have it. But thanks to Denise for having me. The Southern hospitality, it's not Southern, but the hospitality, I guess Southern California hospitality in your face has been great. Shout out to her. Shout out to her husband. Shout out to everybody. Y'all are wonderful. Shout out to Will Washington. That's my dog, man. I love that guy. Incredibly talented person. I'm so happy for all your success. And you're my friend. You're all of our friends. And you're so cool. But yeah, thank you, Denise.
You're welcome. Will DeBeast sends in a super chat saying California Connection is my favorite wrestling podcast show and Grapsity is my second. Do you guys think MJF really would leave AEW in 2024? I want Samoa Joe to be champ at World's End, but I don't want MJF to leave AEW. Prediction time.
Wow, Denise, what do you think? Because after all of this, like, he is acting like a WWS wrestler. Can I say that? He is acting like he's doing stuff that would lead me to believe that he would work out there. So I'm at a crossroads. I just don't know if they'll believe it over there like they believe it in AEW.
Right. I agree. I think that I'm expecting to see MJF remain with AEW simply for the fact that there's a lot. I just think MJF fits in very nicely in AEW. And I think, I'm not saying he's never going to go to WWE because I think that it would be great for him to go to WWE because it's the biggest company. You're going to get a whole new set
He wants
of
a
eyeballs.
WrestleMania moment, it feels, you know?
I feel like you can't blame a pro wrestler for wanting to have a WrestleMania moment, to have their name in the biggest marquee possible.
Mhm.
So for that reason, I do think we're going to see AEW keep MJF for a good time, but I do think somewhere down the road in later years, we will be seeing MJF in WWE at some point.
Same here. Maybe, I don't know if it'll happen in 2024, but in the future, I would not be surprised one bit if I see him there.
MVF says, what's the World's End main event? Do you have any predictions, Reg?
I mean, it's looking like we're leading towards MJF and Samoa Joe for the AEW World Championship. If what the story that they've been telling the last couple of months, and specifically last night that they told, I think that's probably going to be the main event if I had to guess.
Yeah, I would say you're definitely on point with that one. I feel like just given the story, it would be weird if that wasn't the main event.
Like, who else is it going to be?
So I feel like that's probably definitely where we are headed with that. And yeah, I think that's it, guys. I think we got all of our super chats in. I'm just trying to make sure that I didn't miss anything.
Y'all are really cool today with the super chats. A lot of amazing insights. Y'all got some great points across. Like, I don't know what y'all drinking this morning, but shout out to y'all.
There's times where I'm like, why am I hosting this podcast?
Seriously.
Some of these people should probably be on here with some great ideas.
I'm like, I didn't think about that. This is crazy.
Y'all are giving me material. It's supposed to be the other way around.
So shout out to y'all for that. That's dope.
Oh my gosh. But seriously, thank you so much to everybody who's tuned in. Thank you for your support. If you guys enjoyed this podcast, if it was your first time watching, don't worry. You want more of Reg and I? We are live every single Wednesday here talking about AEW Dynamite. Tuesdays, I'm live talking about NXT. Fridays, I'm here talking about WWE Smackdown. Saturdays, I'm here talking about Collision unless there's a pay-per-view. And I'm always here talking about AEW, WWE, you name it. It's happening here on the channel. I have posted a tremendous amount of content atop of the AEW Full Gear press conferences. I also have all of these additional interviews that I did with people. Jacob Fatu, who spoke about the WWE Bloodline. God, I'm like blanking on everything else that I did. Zoe Stark, who's going to be wrestling Rhea Ripley.
Chris Bay, spoke to Chris Bay, one of my favorite people. Mm-hmm.
Check those out, guys. Trinity just had an interview with Trinity. Yep. I'm not kidding you. Go to my video section.
Statlander.
Chris Stat. Oh my God. You remember?
Come on, Denise. I know.
Like, I'm not kidding you. Go to the video section. There's so much new content there. I want this channel to be a buffet of wrestling content. So check that out. And then if you guys enjoyed this podcast, please do not forget to leave a review and give some love over on the Apple Podcast app. It would really mean a whole lot to us, helps us rank higher and just get more opportunities with sponsors and whatnot. So thank you to everybody. Have an awesome weekend. And thank you so much to tuning in to the show. We appreciate you guys all so very much.